Far Cry 6, Game of the Year Edition title is inaccurate. A leak for Far Cry 6 indicates that there is going to be a Game of the Year Edition release, along with a new expansion titled Lost Between Worlds. A potential new Far Cry 6 expansion and Game of the Year Edition have been leaked. Previous installments of the franchise have received periodic DLC drops, allowing the player to see different perspectives or experience different stories in the Far Cry universe. Examples include allowing the player to take on the role of a young Wendell Redler in the Vietnam War as he attempts to rescue his squad and evacuate before being overtaken by enemy soldiers in the Far Cry 5 Hours of Darkness DLC. Far Cry 6 was initially released on October 7, 2021, meaning that the leak of the Game of the Year Edition price comes on the game's one-year anniversary. At the Game Awards 2021, Far Cry 6 was nominated for 3 awards, none of which were for Game of the Year. The game was nominated for Best Performance, Giancarlo Esposito, Innovation and Accessibility, and Best Action Game, but didn't take home any of the awards. Gamers are used to titles receiving a Game of the Year re-release, which typically bundles in some DLC. Far Cry 6 has received its own Game of the Year edition, though some gamers find this quite strange because the game hasn't won any major Game of the Year awards. It appears that Ubisoft is exploiting the marketing gimmick, despite having not earned it. DLC can expand Far Cry's world and build upon characters that would otherwise be simple NPCs on the sideline with some interesting details. An entire expansion could add much-needed depth to the already released Far Cry 6. If a Game of the Year edition is released, it would be new for the Far Cry series, with previous games receiving gold editions, but not going so far as to release a gaudy edition. An expansion a year later is not unheard of for Far Cry, as the expansion Far Cry 3, Blood Dragon was released in 2013 while the base game was released in 2012. The previous DLC for Far Cry 6, Vaux's Insanity, allowed fans to play as the villain himself, while the other DLC allowed similar experiences with Pagan and Joseph. This leads to speculation on what an expansion titled Lost Between Worlds could hold in store. Ubisoft's Far Cry 6 was released in 2021. It is set on the fictional island of Yara, and it follows guerrilla fighter Dani Rojas as they attempt to end Anton Castillo's dictatorial regime. Upon release, critics and gamers noted that while the game certainly wasn't bad, it failed to innovate much on past games. Playing it didn't feel any different from playing previous Far Cry games, which made it fail to stand out. Nevertheless, according to Ubisoft, Far Cry 6 performed well in playtime per player and microtransactions, compared to Far Cry 5. It was nominated for several awards. At the Game Awards 2021, it was nominated for Best Performance, Best Innovation, and Innovation and Accessibility. At the 2022 New York Game Awards, it was nominated for 4 awards, including the Statue of Liberty Award for Best World and the Tin Pan Alley Award for Best Music in a Game. It didn't win any of the awards it was nominated for, but that isn't a bad thing at all, as being nominated is enough of an honor. Far Cry has been a successful franchise since the first initial game release in 2004. A new expansion for Far Cry 6 would be on par with a structure that developer Crytek Studios has followed before, with DLC being released a while after the game. The expansion could include any number of stories for the player to follow, as previous DLCs have varied greatly on expanding the universe, creating developed worlds and leading to discussion about which Far Cry game ranks above the others in the long-running franchise. The $120 price tag has left a lot of people baffled. The standard edition of the game can be purchased for as low as $19.99 for a new copy in some stores, and even the gold edition on the Xbox Store is listed at $39.99 for Xbox Live Gold members and comes with all of the Far Cry 6 DLC content. The $80 difference between the gold and gaudy editions of Far Cry 6 is the addition of the Lost Between Worlds expansion. Some gamers may criticize Ubisoft for exploiting the Game of the Year marketing gimmick. It wouldn't be the first to do so, but it may be one of the first examples of a game sporting the title without winning any awards to back up its claim of being Game of the Year. Far Cry 6, Game of the Year Edition features For anyone looking for the definitive Far Cry 6 experience, the Game of the Year edition is the best option. It comes with the base game, along with all the free updates it has received over time. It also features all the Season Pass content, which includes 3 DLCs as well as Far Cry 3, Blood Dragon. Gamers also receive 3 cosmetics packs, Croc Hunter Pack, Vice Pack, and Jungle Expedition Pack. Some gamers may criticize Ubisoft for exploiting the Game of the Year marketing gimmick. It wouldn't be the first to do so, but it may be one of the first examples of a game sporting the title without winning any awards to back up its claim of being Game of the Year. However, others may still appreciate that the best of the game has been bundled together into a convenient package. While it does have a hefty $120 tag attached to it, it does provide some reliable Far Cry open-world fun.